Hey guys, this is Jam of JamOnline.net, and I want to talk something new, and it's the iPad Pro M4. And no, we're not just gonna do a review. I just want to focus on one thing. I want to focus on gaming on the iPad, specifically on the iPad OS. Now we have here the iPad Pro M4. This is the 13-inch variant. I'm gonna remove the Magic Keyboard for that. So yes, it is a 13-inch tablet. It's big, but what I didn't expect is that I would enjoy playing games on this device. Now, let's talk about first the things that we would love on this tablet. So first we got here the 13-inch display. I know it's kind of big, and we got here the tandem OLED display. For some people, they might, it's just another marketing gimmick, but hey, it's a really great display on the tablet in here. And again, this is a 13-inch tablet. It's big, it's massive. That's what she said. But the colors are great. The blacks are really black. And overall, it was a great display. Now, for the magical part inside the iPad Pro is actually the M4 chip inside. It's not the M4 Pro, it's not the M4 Max, it's just the M4. It's basically the same chip that you can find on the new MacBook Pros. And no, I don't know the exact RAM. This one, I believe it's an 8 gig of RAM, but this one supports Apple Intelligence. And in case you didn't follow, actually one of the best things about the M series chipsets from Apple is that they're really good for performance or for gaming. And I've been using this one for quite a while now, especially for gaming. Yes, I do mean that. Gaming. And while we don't have Steam on this one, we're still able to play games like Divinity II, Recfest, Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, Honkai Star Rail. My favorite one is Civilization 6. Of course, we got GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition, and a lot more. And what's so special about this is that we got here a really nice graphics thanks to the M4 chip inside, and it's perfect to pair it with my controller, this 8-bit though Xbox controller. And when it comes to the controllers, the iPad supports Xbox, PlayStation, and even Switch controllers as your input for playing games like this one, Resident Evil 7. The large display, the impressive performance, is great on this one. But since you're not probably convinced about that, let me share you some of my experiences that I had with the iPad Pro M4. And I want to go really hardcore on this one first. So first game is Divinity II. This is actually a game that is available on PC, on Steam, and it's a really great game. It's from the makers of Baldur's Gate 3, the very popular game, a game of the year last year. And with Divinity 2, we got here a really nice graphics. The controls are really optimized on this one, and surprisingly, the graphics that we're getting in here is almost the same as they were getting on my laptop. And we got here the really touch optimized controls on this one. As for the graphic settings, you won't have any problems with it. There's a 120 Hz ProMotion display as well on this one. So you know that the touch response and also the refresh rate of playing games on this one is really good. As you can see, this one plays really smooth, and this one, of course, is best paired with a controller like this one. And if you're worried about graphics, we've maxed it out, and we have here a really nice graphics again on this one, and everything was really smooth when I was playing on this one. Even a lot of actions, a lot of graphics. The M4 chip can handle just that really fine. Now, another game that is available on Steam that is also available on the iPad is actually Recfest. It's one of the games that I really enjoy on the iPad. We really have here a really nice graphics, as you can see from here. This is the menu. And we got here the maximum graphics settings for Recfest. And yes, it was really smooth on the iPad Pro M4. As you can see on this one, sliding and swiping through the car is really smooth, and the textures are really great on this one. The controls are also touch optimized, so you could enjoy it whether you have a controller or you are just using the display. But since I have a 13-inch display, I would prefer using a controller when playing games on my iPad Pro M4. Next thing that I love is actually Call of Duty Warzone. Again, Call of Duty Warzone is the mobile version that we have in here. This is not the same one on the desktop or on the PC, but it's one of the most demanding mobile games that we have right now. The thing with Warzone Mobile is that you could connect your Call of Duty account account and have the same achievements, skins, and everything to your Warzone mobile. You can only compete with Warzone mobile players but not PC players. Nonetheless, the game is really great. It's best played again with a controller. That one is you could play it with actually on touchscreen, but I would prefer having it on a controller. And again, the iPad Pro M4 works just fine at maximum graphics settings. So whether you are just playing casual games or games like Warzone Mobile, you won't have any problems on the iPad Pro M4. I think the iPad Pro M4 is just overpowered for games and apps that are available in it. And of course, we got Civilization 6. Here's the thing with Civilization 6. Despite playing it on an M4 chip, I believe that Civilization needs to optimize the iPad even more. Yes, the M4 chip is fast, it's swift, but I believe that they can still optimize its settings, its features, and everything, as we're not getting 120 hertz refresh rate on that one. But nonetheless, it was fast, it was smooth, and Civilization is one of those games that heavily relies on the CPU core. There's a lot of going on with every steps that you take in Civilization, and I really felt the difference between playing on the iPhone, despite having the 16 Pro Max, versus the M4 on the iPad Pro. You could really feel that there's a big difference when it comes to performance. So when playing games, I would highly prefer playing games on my iPad. I would get better and faster performance on that one. But nonetheless, the M4 chip is ultra fast. It's ultra good. But I believe Civilization needs a little bit of optimization for that one. Now let's go to some of the games that I regularly play, like every day, like GTA Definitive Edition. The thing with GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition is that I've noticed with the iPad Pro M4 is that we're getting here better shaders and better textures compared to when I was playing on my iPad Pro M1. I've noticed that with the M4 is that I got here a smoother edges or better anti-aliasing when playing games like GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition. Now I'm not sure if that supports ray tracing, but overall I was getting better textures, better shaders on the M4, and I was getting smoother frame rates with the M4 compared to the M1 that I had before. Nonetheless, even the M1, which was released back in 2020, was still great. Now, of course, we got your Honkai Star Rail from the makers of Genshin Impact. Yes, Genshin Impact, it works just fine, 120 frames per second, no problems at all. It's the same thing with Honkai Star Rail, which I was getting a really good frame rates and a really good experience. The large screen, the colors of the tandem OLED display, it's just a perfect mix for the Honkai Star Rail. And lastly, I also have games like Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 4. Again, I've showed you a while ago Resident Evil 7. Other Resident Evil games are also coming, like the Resident Evil 2, and of course there are games like Assassin's Creed Mirage that works perfectly on the iPad Pro M4. Now let's talk about the Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 works just fine at maximum graphics settings that we have in here. Surprisingly, it was really smooth. It was really great. I could really compare the graphics that I got when I was playing it back a few years ago when I was playing it on my PS4. And I was actually surprised that the iPad Pro M4 can handle that just fine. I've also played games like Assassin's Creed Mirage that is just on demo, and it might not be the highest frame rates that I've seen, but you need to consider that this is a tablet. This is something that it is really portable. You wouldn't expect, a desktop level or a gaming laptop level on the iPad Pro, but nonetheless, the iPad Pro can still do it because the M4 chip is just incredible. Now, my favorite Resident Evil among the remake series, the Resident Evil 2, is actually coming to the iPad Pro, and I can't wait for it to arrive here for the iPad Pro. But, of course, those are not just the games that we have in here. There are probably 100,000 of games that are optimized for the iPad, like Pocket City 2, and sometimes those games are just the best for touchscreen devices, and it's really optimized and it's really best played on a touchscreen device like this game, Pocket City 2. But of course, it's not all praises for the iPad Pro. We still have some cons in here. Of course, we have your emulators like PPSSPP, we got 3DS emulators, we got Delta emulator for GBA and a lot more. But we don't have emulators for PS2, Wii, and other games that optimize JIT or JIT. Basically, the just-in-time. Just to give you a layman's term, we need that feature on the iPad or on the iOS to have those emulators, to run those emulators. And without that, we won't be having an enjoyable experience when playing those games on the iPad and the iPhone. Unfortunately, Apple has disabled that or hasn't released that feature yet for developers. But when it comes to that, when they release that, we would be able to have PS2 emulators. And not just that, my favorite would be actually virtual machines. So basically, we would be able to run like Linux Ubuntu at better speed. You can actually run that now on UTMSE, but you would be able to run it at a faster speed once JIT or JIT or just-in-time compiler is out on the iPad and iOS. And yes, it's available on the Mac. It's a desktop. That's why we were able to have those emulators on the Mac, but not on the iPad and iOS. Another thing, while we have here some really cool games like Death Stranding, Resident Evil, Recfest, and a lot more coming in the future, there are still some games that are, actually, there are a lot of games that aren't available here yet for the iPad and the iOS. But the iPad OS and iOS is actually way ahead when it comes to gaming versus Android, as we don't have these kind of games. Divinity II, Resident Evil, they don't have those games on Android, but with iOS we have those games. And I hope, and I really hope, that developers would flock into the Apple ecosystem to bring in more games that are on desktop, and hopefully they bring it into the iOS and iOS and iPad OS, as they are really great platforms for gaming, as we got here a powerful chipset, especially for the M series chipset that we got in here on the iPad Pro. The M4 that I got right now, I'm pretty sure that this would last more than 4 years and it would still be really, really fast. So overall, gaming on the iPad is a really enjoyable experience. Another bonus that I had is that I've been playing on this one using Xbox Cloud Streaming. So I was playing Call of Duty, and I was also playing Battle World on this one with my controllers. This was an Xbox controller, so I could play that anywhere as long as I have an internet connection. It was fast in here in Canada, so I wasn't really having any problems with that. But basically, I was playing already desktop games aside from the one that's installed on my iPad Pro, and I was already playing, console games via Xbox Cloud Streaming, which is really cool. So yeah, guys, that's it for my experience when it comes to gaming on the iPad Pro M4. It's a really nice experience, and of course, I'm gonna make a review of this one, of course, along with the Magic Keyboard and the iPad Pro M4. I'm gonna make a review for that one, but that would be separate. But for this one, I just want to share with you my experience when it comes to playing some of the games that I enjoy with the iPad OS on the iPad Pro M4. So I guess that's it for our video for today. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and be sure to click that subscribe button along with that bell button to get notified of our latest videos here in my YouTube channel. So once again, I am Jam of JamOnline.net, and thank you for watching, and see you guys again in my next video.